Hi everyone, my name's Bryony and I'm a researcher at the University of Edinburgh and I'm doing a PhD in chemistry, which means that at some point quite soon I'll be Dr. Bryony Hockin, which is very exciting. However, recent events have meant I haven't been able to go into my lab very much and I've just been stuck at home really bored. So I started getting interested in kitchen chemistry. So here we are in my kitchen. Welcome to my kitchen. I cleaned especially for you. And we're going to do some kitchen chemistry. So what are we going to learn about today? We're going to learn about acids and bases. So, what is an acid and what is a base? We'll find out today. We're also going to find out where can we find acids and bases in our homes. Some clues are in the background. And also, how can we tell the difference between an acid and a base? The clue is in this cabbage. And you may be asking, Bryony, why are you holding a cabbage? And it's not just because I'm hungry and I want to have this for lunch in a salad, because it would be delicious. No, instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this cabbage to make what's called an indicator solution. Now, an indicator solution is something that you can use to tell whether something is an acid or a base. So we're going to make this solution and we're going to drop it into different acids and bases in our home and see what happens and see what colour changes happen, because the colour change will tell us whether something is an acid or a base. So all you have to do is follow along with these instructions at home and you too can make some lovely purple indicator solution using nothing but a cabbage. Here's what you'll need. First, you need a kettle. You also need a sharp knife, which you should be very careful with. You can ask an adult for supervision with this, or you can use it by yourself. You also need a chopping board, and most importantly, you need your red cabbage. You'll also need some other items from around the kitchen. You'll need a measuring jug, glass or plastic is fine. You can use a jam jar or any other small container in your kitchen, but I like to recycle. You'll also need a number of small containers that you can use for testing lots of different acids and bases. I found these little glass dishes. You can use yogurt pots, anything you like. You'll also need a few little teaspoons for stirring and mixing. The final thing you'll need is a sieve, which is for sieving out the little bits of cabbage. And that's all. Here are the household items that I'm going to test to see if they're an acid or a base. I chose pop, other brands of pop are available, bicarbonate of soda, also known as baking soda, some laundry detergent with quite strong bleach in it, so be careful about touching this, make sure you wash your hands afterwards, sea salt, lemon juice, vinegar, and washing up liquid. The next thing I'm going to do is label all of the containers that I'm going to keep all of these different acids and bases in. So I used some little sticky notes, and I just wrote down what each of the substances was, and I stuck it to the container I was going to put it into. This makes sure that I don't get any of them mixed up and accidentally put the wrong substance into the wrong pot. Now, on to the fun science. First, you need to chop your cabbage. You can ask an adult to help for this, because it's actually quite difficult to chop it into pieces. So first, cut your cabbage in half with your big sharp knife. Then cut the cabbage into quarters. You only need 1/4, so the rest can go back in the fridge, and you can use it for a salad or something. Once you have 1/4 of your cabbage chopped, then cut that quarter into very small pieces by cutting long lines along one side, then turning it round and cutting shorter lines along the other side so you have little squares of cabbage. Then place all of your chopped cabbage carefully into your measuring jug. Once your measuring jug is full of cabbage, you can go ahead and pop your kettle on. This will take a few minutes. Once your kettle is boiled, you want to pour about 400 millilitres of water on top of your cabbage. Be careful of the boiling water and make sure you don't spill any on your hands. I know from personal experience, it's very painful. So, you need to roughly cover your cabbage with boiling water. Now, again, there's a bit of waiting involved. You should leave your cabbage water for about 5 to 10 minutes. What's happening here is that we are brewing the cabbage, a bit like you'd brew a cup of tea. It needs some time for the dye inside the leaves of the cabbage to slowly soak into and be added to the water. The longer you leave your cabbage, the more strong and the more purple your dye will be. Now that you've left your cabbage for 5 to 10 minutes and you have a nice purple solution sitting there, you're ready to pour it into your jar. Now, Usually I like to put something underneath the jar just to catch any drips. You can use a plate or paper towels or whatever you need to make sure that your countertop doesn't end up stained purple. Put your sieve above the jar and slowly and carefully pour your cabbage water into the jar. Remember, it's still hot, so mind your fingers. You should have almost an entire jam jar full of nice purple indicator solution, which we can use to test all of our substances for acids and bases. You can keep the cabbage if you want, but I'm just going to throw it away. The first substance I'm going to test is baking soda. So we've got the baking soda pot with its label, and what we're going to do is, using a clean teaspoon, just take about half a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda and pop that into your container. Now, we're not sure if this is an acid or a base, and we're also not sure what makes an acid or a base yet. So we'll add some of this indicator solution and see what happens. It's a very pretty purple colour. So we're going to add a very small amount, and as you can see, the baking soda has turned very bright blue with the indicator. The next kitchen item that I'm going to test is lemon juice. So here we've got a bottle of lemon juice that I've just bought, and we're going to add about half a teaspoonful, just a few drops, to our little container, and we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to add some of our universal indicator solution that we've made with our cabbage, and we'll see what colour it changes. As we can see here, lemon juice is very different to baking soda. Lemon juice has actually gone bright pinky red. So we see here the three different colours that our indicator can change. We have our original purple, we have our red lemon juice, and we have our blue baking soda. I'm now going to test lots of other household items. You don't have to test the same items as I have, you might not have all of them. Just choose some items from around your kitchen that you think might be an acid or might be a base, and try each of those. The next item I tested was vinegar, so I added a small amount of vinegar and some of our indicator, and as we can see, it's gone very bright pinky red. So I'm going to put this over here with the lemon juice, which is also bright pinky red. So they must have something in common. They must both be the same type of either acid or base. The next item I'm going to test is washing up liquid. Now, washing up liquid is going to be a little bit hard to dissolve, so I'll pop a little bit in the pot and then pour in some of my indicator solution and then give it a little stir with a clean teaspoon. As we can see, this has changed a very strong blue colour. This looks very much like the blue colour of the bicarbonate of soda we've just tested. So I'm going to put this washing up liquid and its pot over next to the bicarbonate of soda. The next item I'm going to test is laundry powder. Now, this has bleach in it, so you may want to get an adult to help you with this. I'm going to use the little inbuilt spoon and add about half a teaspoon of our washing powder into the container, and again add some of our indicator solution. And as we can see, this has actually gone the strongest colour we've seen yet. It's gone a very, very dark green. So this is more similar to the blue items that we've seen. So I'm going to put this over here with all of the other blue things. The next item I'm going to test is pop. Other brands of pop are available. So we're going to pour a very small amount from this just open can. It's going to be a little bit harder to see the colour change just because the pop is brown, but you can try this with other clear pops like lemonade, and we can see here, it's a little bit harder to see on camera, but the pop has actually gone kind of a reddish purple, so I'm going to put this over here with the lemon juice and with the vinegar. The final household item that I'm going to test is salt. I just had this lying around on my kitchen counter and I wanted to know if it was an acid or a base. But when I added some to my pot and added some universal indicator, I found that actually not a lot happened. Nothing really changed. It stayed purple. It didn't go red. It didn't go blue. So I was a bit disappointed by that, but I put that in the middle, so it's in between red and blue because it's purple. Okay, so we can see here that I've just reshuffled all of the items from my kitchen, which I know which ones are acids and bases. On the far right, we can see lots of acids. Acids will turn our red cabbage indicator red, and we can see here that vinegar and lemon juice both turn the indicator red. Was it a surprise to see that the pop also turns our indicator red? Pop has a lot of acid in. We can see also in the middle, sea salt doesn't really have acid and base. it's just neutral, so it doesn't really change our purple solution from purple at all. And then on the left-hand side, we have our bases. Lots of cleaning products have base in. Fairy liquid is quite a weak base, it's not very strong, so it turns our solution slightly blue. Baking soda is a slightly stronger base, so it turns our solution a bit more blue. And our laundry detergent, which is a very strong base, turned our solution green at first, but actually we can see that because it has bleach in, it's destroyed all of our dye molecules, and over time our little solution has gone from green to going yellow. And we can see here a time lapse of a freshly prepared solution next to our old solution, and we can see the freshly prepared solution slowly turns to the same yellow colour, which means that all of the dye molecules are being destroyed by the bleach. Here's one more test that you can do to find out about acids and bases, not just in your kitchen, but in your body. If you get 2 small glasses and fill them with an equal amount of your purple cabbage water solution, then take one of the glasses and a straw and blow bubbles through it for as long as you possibly can. I blew bubbles for about 5 minutes. Once you've finished blowing bubbles, put the 2 glasses side by side again and see if one of them has changed colour. Does the one you've blown bubbles through look any different? If you put something white behind your 2 glasses, it might make it easier to see the difference in colour. You can see now the glass that I blew bubbles through is much more pink than the one that I didn't. This means that the glass I blew bubbles through has somehow got some acid in it just from me blowing bubbles from my body. That's strange, because I didn't think that the acid could come from my body or from my lungs, but actually what's happening is, when we breathe in oxygen, and when we breathe out carbon dioxide. So you're bubbling carbon dioxide through your cabbage water. Now carbon dioxide, when it's dissolved in water, forms a type of acid called carbonic acid. This is a very weak acid, which means you won't see a big colour change, you'll just see a tiny, tiny bit of acid colour change. But it's still enough that this red cabbage water that's pink is now an acid. Okay, so that was a lot of instructions and a lot of exciting kitchen science. I love a bit of kitchen science. So what have we learned today? Well, we've learned that acids will turn our solution pink, and that bases, like this washing up liquid, will turn our solution kind of blue. Some solutions, some substances like salt, sugar, water, they don't actually do anything to our indicator solution. That doesn't mean that there's no acid or base, it just means that they're somewhere in between. They have an equal balance of acid and base, or they're not an acid or a base at all. Another interesting thing we found out today is that pop, although very delicious, is a very strong acid, almost as strong as drinking a whole can of lemon juice, which I don't really want to do because it sounds disgusting. So we maybe need to think about, when you're drinking a can of pop, you're not just drinking a big can of sugar, you're also drinking a big can of acid. Ew. I'm going to go and brush my teeth after this. So, I hope you guys have enjoyed this kitchen chemistry, and this has been me, Bryony, and thank you very much for watching this video. Bye!